If you have stumbled on this channel, by searching custom leather or bog turtles or something like that, um, it would seem like the videos that I make have nothing to do with bog turtles or custom leather or anything, because it seems like lately I am in the business of painting helmets, which, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. That's just the projects that have been in my queue lately and what I've been up to. I'm painting helmets. This one is the Ironmonger Munitions grade Bascinet, which is if you are a new fighter in the SCA or a similar organization that uses the same type armor standards as the SCA, this is like the cheapest um, production model, you know, helmet that I would recommend. I think it typically runs between, I think it's 150 still. It may be as much as 175. I haven't checked lately, but for that price, what you get from Ironmonger um, is a out of the box bassinet that is gonna work for a lot of different time periods. Well, I mean, like, you're gonna be, in the Bascinet groove, which is gonna put you in the 14th century, like 1350 to 1450-ish. There's some wiggle room on either side of that, obviously, if you really, really wanna, do some documentation. Um, but, and I'm sure there's gonna be some people that hear me say that and like wail and lament and like gnash their teeth, but whatever. Um, but also, you can do a lot of stuff to a bassinet to stretch it out, you know, to lots of different time periods and cultures. And like fighters on the field are going to give you some leeway with a bassinet because it's a get you on the field style helmet that isn't a spun top, you know. It's a lot safer than a spun top. There's a reason that it was used on the medieval battlefield a lot. This glancing surface right here is really, really good. This little ridge is gonna, if rattan hits that in a certain way, it's gonna skip and probably deflect some shots. I've had a little bit of frustration before in a fight where I've hit a dude and it skipped, and I thought I had just, the most delicious power on a shot. This one you can't really see it in the camera, but you can kind of feel it if you run your hand along the metal. There's a nice little glancing surface right here. Ironmonger also, this is a munitions grade bassinet, but this is something you don't see on a lot of Indian made helms. But he also puts a nice little flare down here on the bottom. Um, that's a nice little feature that Ironmonger throws in, and that's for 150 bucks. It might be as much as 175, but I don't think so. And really, 25 bucks more, probably 200 shipped, maybe a little bit on the other side if you live somewhere in the far-flung corners of the world. This is a good helmet for the money. Even if it's on the other side of 200. I would honestly spend 250 if I saw this helmet and needed a bassinet, even in mild steel. That's pushing it for a mild steel bassinet, honestly, for 250. But I know that this is going to be a helmet that's going to last me for many, 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 many years. And the thing about bassinets is, since they work for so many different time periods and cultures, and um, they are pretty much bomb proof as far as helmets go, they retain their value. So if you buy a bassinet for 200 bucks, you can pretty much guarantee yourself turning around and selling that $200 bassinet for like 175 bucks. You could probably turn around and sell it for 200 bucks if you've got someone standing there that really needs a bassinet and you've kept it in pretty good shape, especially if you're going to put some sweat equity into it and like paint it up and keep it nice and put a good suspension system into it, something that's better than like blue foam and like, crappy loaner helmet foam. This is not an ideal foam system. This isn't great. This is for a loaner helmet that isn't going to go into heavy, super duper melee combat. This is actually my Baron's helmet. I was kind of a little bit rude, honestly, when I snatched this up out of his living room one day. It wasn't living a very happy existence as a helmet. It wasn't being used, and I saw that, and I was like, I'm going to give this helmet a happy life. So I snatched it up and padded it up, put a chin strap in it. You can see the chin strap holes right here for the upper and lower string. But what I'm going to do today, since I'm painting helmets, is I am going to paint this sucker right on up. And the video, it's 6 minutes in, and I'm finally cutting to the chase. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this guy up and then prime it. And in this one, I wanted to point out some things to you that you need to pay attention to as a fighter if you wanted to not paint this helmet. So there are some rusty things that you can have on a helmet and not really be super concerned about. And then there's some rusty things that you want to make sure that you want to take care of immediately and let and maintain. So hopefully you've seen it already. This stuff right here, this really nasty orangish, almost turning a darker, what would you say, burgundy, well, I wouldn't say maroon. That color has some word origins that I don't like. So we're just going to go burgundy. Blood color almost. That is the stuff you want to make sure that you get rid of quick. You want to sand that down and you want to get that out of your helmet. Because what is happening there is some really bad oxidation. If you've ever studied rust and what is happening in rust, there is some stuff happening at the molecular level to your steel. That if you could look at it under a microscope, there's some nasty crystalline things going on, and you can almost see it if my camera would focus. Like you can see some stuff going on, but like it's not super deep right now. It's not pitting really badly, so like major damage hasn't really been done. So I can sand this down, and make everything hunky-dory and paint over this, and I really should start writing scripts for these, or at least an outline. But basically, once you sand this down and get, to some bright steel, kind of like this helmet's going to be fine, going to prime it, going to be all right. Any pitting or anything that looks like this, you want to be concerned about, zip some 60 to 80 grit sandpaper, and get that stuff off before you paint it. Some rusty stuff that you don't really have to be super concerned about is anywhere where it looks like it's oxidizing in a more kind of even way. Like right here, especially anywhere where, basically, one thing, if you're keeping it bare metal, if you can spray it down with some WD-40 and wipe it down after fighter practice. You know, if you can't be disciplined enough to do it every fighter practice, every other fighter practice will suffice. But eventually you'll get this nice, kind of darker, you know, it's eventually gonna oxidize on you. The only way to keep mild steel bright is to polish it, polish it, and keep it polished. Wax it with turtle wax or something like that. You're gonna have to keep it maintained if you want that bright finish. That's why you get dudes, and you know, will pay that extra money for stainless. That's why stainless is worth it. If you don't want to, go the extra mile and maintain it, or paint it, you know. And that's why I paint my helms. I can't afford, you know, super expensive stainless helmets, you know, and I kind of like painting my helms, so I'm gonna paint my stuff, and eventually I'll start making some leather on here. Tom's got a crafting night where he's going to do some wax dipping. If you're on the Hawkwood page, arts and science thingy, maybe ask about it. I don't know. I don't know who's watching these. Probably nobody. But like, comment, subscribe. I don't know, hit the bell. Is that a thing? Show this video to your mama. Learn you up some stuff.